Hello, hello. I'm here with Cole, and we're going to be doing a kind of an impromptu live commentary for the Raid Redemption, kind of on the
That's the
fly
word I was
here.
gonna say. I was gonna say impromptu. We're on the same page. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're both pretty big fans of this film. So yeah, this will be a fun one.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to see this in theater, and I wouldn't have seen it because it wasn't on my radar. It was my sister was in town with her husband, and my parents had come up at the same time so they could see them and me because they live a little further away. And I just remember one afternoon, my mother was gonna go shopping with my sister and stuff like that. And my sister's husband said to me, he's like, "We don't have to go with them. Do you want to go see the Raid?" That I found out there's an afternoon showing of that, and I was like, I don't even know what that is, but I'm really glad that he took me there because it was awesome. Not too many people in the theater for a little known foreign movie in there, but there were some people and stuff, and I don't know. There's a movie that it's that cliche that like hacky reviewers will use, and you see it in blurbs where they had me on the edge of my seat. But this movie pretty much had me
Yeah.
on the edge of
Oh,
my
yeah.
seat. Like this movie builds so much tension. It has like a throbbing, pounding soundtrack, right? That goes along with it. I think it's the guy from Linkin Park, the one
Oh,
who
really?
did, yeah, the guy that did the rapping stuff in Linkin Park. I think he's behind the
Okay.
music in this movie. I'm pretty sure. We'll know for sure as it goes, but I think that's right. But yeah, it's really intense and really, matches the intensity of the movie. Like, I mean, if you're going to say like one word that would like describe sum this movie up, you like intense. It's an intense
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But,
Like a cliche word that they would use to describe a lot of films, but it actually applies here.
here's funny. So I've owned this for a long time. It was on Blu-ray. So I don't know. Some people hate slipcases, but usually if it has a slipcase, I prefer it. So I usually have the slipcase on. I don't even notice. But like in like the normal thing here underneath, I only just noticed this tonight. It says 1 moment of romance, 99 minutes of nonstop carnage. I never noticed that until today when I took it out.
What an odd blurb.
Yeah, I guess it does set it up because it just has that. I don't know. But yeah, not actually watching the Blu-ray because, like you, it happens to be on my Netflix, which is more convenient. So
Yeah. And plus, we'll
hopefully,
be
if anybody is
synced up.
watching, you can find it on your Netflix and get it ready. I've got it at zeros.
When I was searching for it, it was the Raid Redemption and the Raid Redemption like uncut, and this was the uncut version that was 1 minute longer. So I don't know what's in that 1 minute, but
Mine shows a time of 1 hour and 41 minutes and 9 seconds.
oh wow, okay, I'm at an hour 40. Wonder why that is.
Sometimes we get different title things, remember, because in different countries they seem to have different
Right,
distributors.
right.
So I'll let you know what's coming up on this once we hit it.
Yeah, I'm 140:53. What the fuck?
Well, it's only so that's a difference of what, like
A minute.
15 seconds.
Mm.
I don't know, 141. Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, about 15 seconds. Yeah, more or less.
So yeah, that may be a title thing.
Yeah,
But I guess we can go and get started here and
sure. Let's.
talk a little more about the film. We'll count down here.
All right.
We've got our players paused at all zeros because, well, I guess we'll figure out if we're synced up or not once we get along.
Yeah.
But
This never
pause it
goes
all.
smoothly.
Never, no.
No.
But pause at all zeros, and then we'll count down from three, and then after one, we will press play.
Right.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, play. Got Sony Pictures Classics.
I'll put my volume down. Yes, so mine opens with One Entertainment.
So that's probably where the difference is. I'll let you know when
Yeah, now it's Sony's Pictures Classic. So
that's the difference here. I'll pause mine for just a sec. Okay. I'm at a gun and a watch.
Sony Pictures Classics release in association with Stage 6 Films.
Yeah, you're about to get to it.
And there we go.
Okay.
First shot of the movie, gun and watch. Boom.
Cool. All right.
So pretty good.
Yeah, this is an Indonesian film, which is something you don't normally see as far as martial arts go.
Yeah, with the little, well, at least at the time, kind of little known martial art known as Silat, which is really interesting kind of martial arts because unlike most martial arts, which is, purely hand stuff, and then when you bring weapons in, it's a different thing. So that kind of, as far as I can tell, mixes weapons techniques into it. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was actually wanting to talk to you about this the other day. I was researching Filipino knife fighting,
Yeah.
and that's all kind of tied in there because but there is some of that in this film, from what I understand. I don't remember it right out, but where you have the knife that is kind of has a curved blade, and you hold it, with a reverse grip.
One of the things that differentiates Silat, I think, from some of the other Asian martial arts is that it's more diluted in that it takes stuff from various regions.
Oh, really?
So there's probably a Filipino influence, I think, to some of Silat. I don't know, because there was, some cross-pollination there.
Right.
Not that they're exactly that close together geographically. They're kind of not, but I mean, you take a boat or whatever.
Yeah, modern day, it's really not very far away at all.
Certainly by today's standards, but some of these martial arts go back 1,000 years and more.
Sure.
I'm not exactly sure, and just like even Salah, I'm sure it has its origins here and there. But here's our 1 minute of romance, fairly cliched. He's like a rookie, and he's going to go out on a first dangerous mission, and he's talking to his pregnant wife. Sure, we get it. He's got something to fight for. He's got something to live for. Sure, this is Rama,
and that's it. That's all you get.
Well, there's one little other thing. He visits his father to tell him that he'll bring him back, and we don't know who that is for a while. Remember?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast right before this had its U.S. release, and it was actually a comedy podcast, but the guys were big fans of martial arts, and they were interviewing some of the people involved with the film, and that's kind of how I put it on my radar. And like it came out and just floored everyone. It's pretty amazing film in that regard that everyone was talking about it.
It's such just frenetic action. Mm-hmm. And just so well done, so well choreographed and everything.
Would it be considered gun fu? Is that?
I don't know. I mean, there's some gun play in there, but I mean, the guns aren't really the main thing, so I guess not.
Okay.
I put this in the same vein as like not a pure martial arts film, but more like the martial arts / action hybrid that was kind of kicked off by the Police Story films that Jackie Chan did.
Right.
See, this is the Shout Factory, which is nice, but what annoys me about this is that it's both films only on one disc. I can't stand it when they put films on the same disc, but it's nice to have the first two Police Stories. Very good movies.
Is that a pretty good transfer on both of those?
Oh yeah, really good, really good.
Cool. I need to pick that up.
As I said, I was confused by the soundtrack because when I put on the dubbing just for the hell of it, I was surprised to find out that this was before Jackie Chan started dubbing his own lines in English.
Right.
So if you watch the dub, it's not like, say, watching some of the later releases. So you'll just get some different voice. So it's better to just watch with the subtitles.
Yeah.
I mean, you know me, I'd say subtitles are always the way to go anyway, except for dubs. Except that since I got used to some of those later Jackie Chan dubs, they don't bother me as much because that's how I first was experiencing them. Like in the theater, they were dubbed, like Rumble in the Bronx
sure.
And First Strike, which is actually the fourth. Technically, that's the fourth Police Story. Super Cop being the third. The first two are actually the only ones that have continuity. The first two are the same characters. In fact, the second one picks up literally as soon as the first one ends. But then once you get into Super Cop and it's a different character in different situations. There's no continuity there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in martial arts films, it's really not as important.
Right.
Like that was kind of a running gag at one point,
Yeah,
almost like the
ruthless Tama is here, just executing. Yeah, so I'm sure people know, but the setup is basically he's like a ruthless criminal gang lord guy, and he basically has his base of operations in this building, which is actually an apartment building that has normal non-criminal tenants in it, but it's kind of like his own personal fortress, and and the tenants that live there, they live there because they have like no other choice, and they just try their best to stay out of his way.
Oh.
But yeah, there we go. He's out of bullets, so he's like, hammer, that'll work. And he has two main lieutenants, Mad Dog and can't remember the other guy's name. Mad Dog is pretty self-explanatory. He's the fighter, and then the other guy is more of his idea man, smart guy.
I would say whenever you have someone using a hammer, they stole it from Old Boy.
Yeah, Old Boy really seemed to popularize like the hammer as like not just like something you grab and kill somebody with, but like a weapon you can wield with skill, right? That's not in this movie, but it is in the sequel.
Right.
There's a character in the next raid, which I also own. That in fact, a female character, which is really great that he fights.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I haven't seen part 2 yet, but
it's hard to see. But you can see her in one of the small pictures. She's got sunglasses on. Yeah, so she's also deaf. She wears sunglasses. She's deaf, and she fights with hammers. So pretty cool. And yeah, it's the one in like this movie all takes place in a single location, which sometimes bothers me, but it's perfect for this movie. The other one, of course, is one that actually moves around. It involves him infiltrating a criminal gang, and there's car chases and everything in it. So, yeah,
stepping it up a notch.
Yeah, he's briefly in prison too. It's kind of like what is it? The Departed, where he like gets sent to prison, so they'll think that he's a legit criminal and stuff. And of course, there's a crazy riot scene there that he fights off like a zillion guys in and stuff. But yeah, then it turns into kind of like one of those typical undercover things where, he's undercover, but at least a couple of the guys he starts to kind of like, it's all that stuff. It's, again, the story is nothing original, but the action is what makes it stand out. Yeah, there's the older guy. Forgot about him.
Have you seen a film called Blind Fury?
No, I know the title.
With Rutger Hauer?
Oh, where he has the sword?
Yeah. He's blind, as well. That's what I was thinking of when you were talking about the blind lady.
Yeah, I remember. Very poor take on blind swordsman trope. Funny, speaking of, not that this is Rutger Hauer, but since Rutger Hauer, even though he's a good actor who's done good movies, speaking of Blind Fury, he's a guy that's done a zillion like D-list movies like that. This isn't quite that low, but I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't have to apologize. I don't have to apologize because Rambo Raph isn't here. But
I'd say watch it again, man. I mean, I don't think it's that bad of a film, honestly.
Because I just watched the first and probably the only decent film of the series, Highlander. And to me, Christopher Lambert is like the poster boy for like it's like a low budget D-list type of movie.
Yeah.
But Highlander is like it's probably like his like highest profile gig, and it's pretty good. And then of course the series is bananas. I mean, I'm fascinated by the series because it's so bad in some ways. I mean, a lot. The second one, what's it called? The Quickening is often considered like one of the worst sequels ever because of the stuff that it does and because of the way it got butchered and stuff. They released a whole other cut of it, like a director's cut, that takes out all like the alien references.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't realize that.
To try to salvage it a little bit. But there's like 5 films and like the continuity's all over the place. Plus, there was a television show that was actually quite popular. I had a couple friends growing up that watched it. I never saw a second of that show ever, but they were fans of it, and that had a different Highlander, a Duncan MacLeod. But then like the third movie, I think, brings them both into it. So they try to merge the continuities and have them both into it. And I don't know. I can even remember like in like the late 90s before the second last one came out, like sitting in the theater, going to a movie, and like that preview came on, and like 2 of my friends were super excited for it. Speaking, and I can tie this back to martial arts because guess what? Who's the martial artist I'm always harping about people don't know enough about? It's Donnie Yen, because Donnie Yen basically just did Chinese movies. Well, he did have a brief foray into a few American movies. His first ever American movie was that Highlander movie from the 90s. He's one of the immortals in that. Then he very quickly was like, okay, screw this. Went back to China and made movies. But I love Donnie Yen.
Well, yeah, Highlander is one of those that kind of it does. Well, I guess it never has numbers, right? It starts with the quickening. It's not Highlander 2, it's the quickening. So
I think it's in some cases it is called Highlander 2. I think the first 3 all use numbers, actually. The third one is sometimes called The Sorcerer and sometimes called Final Dimension.
So I think I've seen Final Dimension. I didn't realize that was part 3, and then I've seen.
Yeah, that's the one where I think the first time they bring the TV guy in. So they merge Duncan MacLeod with what's his name, MacLeod. Connor MacLeod. But yeah, just having watched the first one, which again is a pretty decent movie because it doesn't have to worry about a bunch of stuff they fuck up later on, and the bad guy is so over the top. It's like I don't mind it. It fits, It's really he's really over the top. But why the hell not? Can't remember who that actor is, but he's the guy that plays what's he called the Corgan or the Kroner. I don't know, something like that.
From the first movie.
Yeah, he's the first bad guy.
That guy's great. Yeah, I forget his name.
Yeah. Partway through, he like shaves his head and he starts acting like completely insane. He's like, yeah. It's really funny. It's good stuff. But yeah, now I kind of want to watch the rest of the Highlanders just for the hell of it. So here they're trying to make their entrance into the building. They took care of the sentries outside. And here's just one of them. Now they've run into one of the ordinary residents who's not a criminal, but just wants to stay the hell out of the way. And they're like, well, we can't let him go. He might warn them, so we have to keep him with us. Now they're going to do the breach. Because yeah, they're trying to be stealthy at first, not alert everybody. And so far, it's going fine. They've managed to take out the sentries. They've gotten in without being seen.
And it's about to hit the fan.
Yeah. So far, they're like, room by room, taking down guys and neutralizing them so that they can't release the alarm. But yeah, I was as much as I really liked, and I've talked about this before, and I was disappointed that it didn't do well at the box office because I thought the Dredd movie from 2012 was really good. I really liked it and thought, it's too bad it bombed because I would have loved to have seen a sequel. The main reason I would have liked to have seen a sequel was I felt like Dredd was, it had such a similar plot to this. It was all basically within a building that was controlled by criminals and they were being hunted down, blah, blah, blah. That's not bad. I just felt like it was kind of too bad for a Dredd story to be that because in Dredd, he's in Mega City 1. You want to see the city, So I always felt this really disappointing. They couldn't have given us a sequel that would have shown them, out in the city because it's, this massive sprawling city that goes on for hundreds of miles and, has crime all over the place and everything. And they limited it to just one big building, which is kind of too bad. Still a solid movie. I liked it a lot. And what's his name? Carl Urban.
That sounds right.
Carl Urban's great. It's not a hard role to play as long as you look right and sound right. Like, because you're not supposed to emote much. And what's great is he never takes the helmet off or something like that. And that's something that like had to be learned slowly over time. Like these stars all want their face there. Like in the Judge Dredd movie, like he never wears the helmet. It's like, I'm a big star. I'm Sylvester Stallone. I want my face always to be shown. Like, why? We know it's Sylvester Stallone. It's not going to ruin the movie if your face is covered a bit. We still know it's you. You have one of the most distinctive voices ever, but and it's the same thing. Like, and this has less to do with, I think, face recognition or anything. But when you saw the Spawn movie, he almost never had his mask over. He only had his mask on like when he was like right into fights, which is ridiculous because if you read the comics, Spawn almost always has his mask on.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about Spawn. That's a sore subject.
There is going to be a new Spawn movie, although I still don't know when it's happening. It seems like the new Hellboy is going to happen before that. Here we go. The one guy manages to yell "police" just before they shoot him through the neck, and he passes it on to the guy above. So it's just a kid too, but you understand. If you're a kid in this building, you have to do what these criminals say, or they'll fucking kill you and your family.
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever seen a film called Tenement from maybe the late 70s, early 80s? It's like a grindhouse style film.
No. Similar plot?
Very. It's like
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Like fighting yourself through way through a house of criminals.
Yeah, it's in America, but it's like a really
Yeah.
shitty like tenement building that they have to fight their way up to get to the top to fight the crime lord guy.
Yeah.
Always kind of
I've got a really excellent Moon Knight comic from a few years ago that Warren Ellis wrote. It's just when Warren Ellis did a few issues, he did only about 6 issues, like in 2014. He basically just did. It was weird because it was contrary to what comics usually are these days, in that each story was just standalone. It was just a bunch of sort of Moon Knight vignettes. And one, he gets a tip to where this girl who was kidnapped is being held, and he just basically fights his way up the floor, and it's really brutal and awesome. I love it. And it's obviously sort of a nod to this, and maybe something like that to Tenement. So, love Moon Knight. Yeah, he's got cameras, of course. But yeah, I was sort of in a martial arts mood, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this tonight, not tomorrow, is because I want to watch the big fight tomorrow. I can give you the link if you want, if you're gonna have the time to watch it tomorrow. Yeah.
Who all this is going to be?
The big one is the featherweight, so it's Holloway versus Ortega. Ortega's unbeaten, and Ortega's the first person to knock out Edgar. Oh, everybody seems to like Holloway except me. I actually want Ortega to beat him, but I don't like a lot of those Hawaiian fighters. I don't know why. I'm prejudiced. I hate Hawaiians. No, I don't know.
Well, they all have big attitudes, but I guess you have to in that game.
But I mean, like, kind of what fighter doesn't?
Exactly. I've always been an underdog type guy. You know, I don't like guys like Conor McGregor. Like he's the anti
obviously
person that I like. So
I so enjoyed watching him get ragdolled.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm always like going for the one everyone thinks is going to lose. Generally,
yeah, they're pretty well organized. These bad guys. He's got a few snipers to keep anybody going for backup. Oh, and they're mean too. Let him scream. They wound the guy. Yeah, so this is a very dedicated, ruthless bunch of criminals. Yeah, let them scream. See if we can lure somebody else out. It's a sniper trick, right? Wound somebody to lure somebody out to help them pick them off. And this guy is not one of the ordinary tenants. Look at he gets himself out, and he's got a big ass cleaver or something under his table.
Gosh, awfully limber.
I can do that.
Can you really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I still have some of my limberness left. It's my hips that give me trouble, sure. which really holds me back as a martial artist. I can't do a good high kick on my left at all. Like maybe every 1 out of 5. And even if I send it off, it sends a horrible twinge of pain through me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's something, I don't know, something out of alignment of my left hip. Because even like an ordinary roundhouse kick, not a high one, just an ordinary one, even that can give me trouble on the left.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of, I don't know, tendonitis or whatever the equivalent would be.
I don't know, but repetition has not really helped because, I mean, it's been a few months, and hopefully in January I'm finally going to go back and stuff. But in Taekwondo, that's the kick you do the most. It's just a round kick. We do, in any class, you do it 1 billion times. Mm-hmm. But I'm always so happy when we're doing a side kick or something because that works just so much better for the way I can move my hips, a side kick.
So it's the rotation that does it.
It's, yeah, because it's I mean, the whole reason why anybody can kick, but the difference between, say, a trained martial artist and a normal person kicking is, is getting your hips engaged. Because you're not just striking with your, pretend my leg this is a leg. Instead of just striking like that, you're doing it in such a way that you're creating like a whip effect, like whoosh,
Mm.
like that, and that's what gives you the power. And that's why like you don't necessarily have to be big and strong to land a very hard kick, because if you do it right, it's like the crack of a whip kind of thing. And with training, I've been able to do that, but on my left side, it's not good. Which I guess works out because, like I'm right-footed anyway. Like I would be inclined to kick with my right anyway, so it works out. But still, you never like having a weakness. And yeah, and I guess I am sort of, just because of doing stuff less, I am less flexible there.
Mm-hmm.
So like say doing like a spinning hook kick, I can barely get it up for the left. I can go through the motion of it, but there's no power behind it with the left. But that's the kick I want to master so badly. Like whenever our class ended, even if it was Muay Thai where we don't do those kicks, like once class was over, I'd go, when everybody's like getting their stuff and going out, I would like go into the back room where the big things that you get to kick are, and I would just like endlessly do like spinning hook kicks until like I realized I had to go. I don't know. It's so much easier when you can connect with something. Like you try to do it here in your apartment, but I don't know. I need to hit stuff. I need to make contact. Kick in the air. I mean, you need to do it, but I'm not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the captain's name. I really feel bad. Spoilers that the captain dies.
Yeah, that's pretty much a given.
He puts up a great fight. But yeah, there's a race finding out that they don't know for sure at this point, but yeah, the lieutenant here, the older guys, he's dirty. He's lured them in. He's made a deal with Tama. This is a trap. And that's why they're cut off from backup and all this stuff, is because the lieutenant arranged it. Because he made sure nobody knew about it, and now they're cut off, so they can't call anybody in. Because yeah, what's really weird is he lives. Like he's the dirty cop, and he lives. Like he doesn't win. They take him in, they arrest him. But I just mean, after so many people die, like the whole team's gonna die except for Rama. And I think one other guy that basically got injured and then holds back for a while. But yeah, I just remember this is the part where like my heart started pounding.
Oh yeah, it's pretty relentless after this.
Yeah. Turn that up one if that's too loud. Yeah, in the darkness, they're all ready to just blow them away. I mean, you're at a huge disadvantage here. The enemy is covering you from an elevated position, just shooting fish in a barrel. That's like in The Rock. That's like what what's his name says, Ed. I almost said Ed Helms, you know who I mean.
Ed.
Sure, it's Ed, isn't it, Ed? Damn it.
No, Sean Connery. That's who you're thinking of.
Yeah, no. The guy that plays sort of the main antagonist, the general. Because he's like, you're being covered from an elevated position, where he's yelling at them all when they get caught in the shower room. He's yelling at them all to stand down. Yeah, that's what he says.
I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've seen that.
Oh, man. I watch that like every year. I love it. Is that too loud?
I hear it a little bit, but it's fine.
Okay. I couldn't hear it at all, so I put it up one. So
I search The Rock, and all I get is Dwayne Johnson.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris. Okay, sure. Yeah.
He's really good in that movie. Like people can say like that's like, a mindless action movie, but Ed Harris gives a really good performance in that. Like you really feel like the conflict in him and stuff. Like it's a good, compelling character.
No, that's a good movie. I would say that's a legitimately good movie. Like
that's like I said, that's why I can say like Michael Bay might suck, but he made The Rock. So,
Yeah, I always forget that's Michael Bay.
Yeah. Well, it's before Michael Bay really got his reputation as being Michael Bay. And speaking of Michael Bay, I like to point this out that like in both these movies, or no, just in the second one, Police Story 2, the opening scene has this like crazy like thing with an assault on this weird sort of village on a hill, and has like I don't know, but the operation gets blown and everything goes to hell. The bad guys are trying to get away, and then like they're driving like Hummers, like smashing their way through. Like anyway, he lifted that and just stuck it in Bad Boys 2. I think it's Bad Boys 2. It's either Bad Boys or Bad Boys 2. He lifted that, and then the other thing is one of the scene in the first Police Story where Jackie Chan is trying to arrest the guys, and they charge at him with the bus, and he takes out the gun and makes the one shot, and they stop right in front. That's in Tango and Cash. Sylvester Stallone does the same thing in the scene that introduces him. So those are like, people talk about like these movies influencing. Like that's not just influencing; those are just directly lifted and put in the movie. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
Probably Bad Boys 2, because it's like one long car chase at the end.
I get Bad Boys 1 and 2 mixed up. They kind of blur together in my mind, even though they're a few years apart.
Bad
Those
Boys
are like
2
the only, like I don't think either are very good, but I can say they're the only time I can stand Martin Lawrence. Like I can, like I don't think he's good in those movies, but I can tolerate him. I can't tolerate him in anything else.
Yeah, I agree with that. You didn't like Black Knight? That was
No,
good.
I didn't like Black Knight. I didn't like Blue Streak. I didn't like Big Mama's House, which actually had a sequel, which I didn't see somehow. How did I not see Big Mama's House too? Oh, there goes the guy. That's why you don't go near the windows. I think that's their first casualty, isn't it? Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, so they're trapped. This is pretty smart, so they look for a way. We'll go through the floor. The guys are hard to tell apart here because they're all wearing the same uniform.
That's racist.
You can say that, but actually one of my
yeah,
favorite. But I mean, just to show how bad I am with faces, like one of my favorite movies that I talk endlessly about, my second favorite war movie after Apocalypse Now is The Thin Red Line. In The Thin Red Line, I can't tell anybody apart either. They're all soldiers. Sure. They all have their helmets and their short hair, and they're all just guys with brown hair. And these are like name actors. That movie's loaded with name actors, and I can't tell them apart. I have to hear their voices to know who they are because they all look the same to me. So I'm kind of face blind.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of all war movies. They're all in uniform.
Yeah. Yeah, so these guys. As soon as he gets down, he gets swarmed. Okay, Jaka, that's it. Jaka's the captain.
I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure that I was correct.
Oh, you really need to know is Rama's our main guy, Tama's the bad guy, and Jaka is the captain.
Now this is CGI blood, right? I mean, at least on the bullets.
In some places, yeah, I think so. It happens so fast that I don't really mind.
Well, some of that stuff looked really good. I mean, if it was CGI, it looked really good. The like the axe wound and
I mean, when it's done quickly, right? It doesn't linger. You don't have time to, it just blends in if it's fast enough. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be great if it's fast.
Sure.
Although, yeah, I mean, sometimes even then, I can't remember what movies, but we've all seen movies where, like, people are getting shot up and the blood's jumping out of them, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've always kind of been against that, but, like you were saying, a case like this, can you imagine how long it would take to set up squibs for all that?
Yeah. This is a movie this movie must have had a lot of takes, This is complex. This is complex, highly choreographed action.
Yeah. Especially the martial arts scenes.
Mm-hmm. And they're just so fast and frenetic.
That's what people don't understand, the work that has to go into that stuff to make it look real,
mm-hmm.
to make it look good. Because You go watch some really bad martial arts films, and you'll see the other side of that.
Yeah. Or like an extreme example was like, it's a movie I happened to see on TV years ago. So when I found out, like a couple of weeks ago or like last week that the newer version of Mystery Science Theater 3000 had Wizards of the Lost Kingdom. Like its idea of fight choreography was basically like guys charging and swinging their swords at a slow moving Bo Svensson, who would just sort of go to the side. His idea of a kick was so low that he'd be like kicking them basically on their their shin or their calf, and like he would just gently shove them, and they go flying, and it'd be like, oh, he's out of the fight. Like, why would he be out of the fight? Because you gently shoved him as he's going by. So that's like the extreme example, of course. Like where it's not even just like how fake it is, but it's just like none of it would even, I don't know. Even if it was well done, it still wouldn't make any sense because it's like where you're not actually doing anything to them. You're gently shoving them aside. Because when it's bad too, you'll see bad guys like swing wild or leave themselves open in ways nobody would, like nobody, and just they just do. It's just it's like when you watch Three Ninjas. Like it was perfectly believable to me, like when I was 12 years old when I watched that movie, that if I took some martial arts lessons, I could beat up ninjas too, because look how easy it was to beat them up.
Yeah, the one that eats all the time. He's really good. The fat one.
Yeah. Tum Tum. Isn't it great how he gave them ninja names? Like, as if ninjas did that. They don't. Ninjas don't give people ninjas names. They just had names. But
how
for
was
that,
the grandfather Asian again? I totally forget that part.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Or someone was adopted somewhere along the way.
I can't remember. It's been too long since I've seen that mess. Actually, in looking for this, Three Ninjas Kick Back is on my Netflix, so we should do that.
Is that 2 or 3?
I don't know. What's really weird is of 2 of the sequels, one was shot before the other, but came out later.
That's really weird.
And you can tell too, because the boys, they're kids, so they actually look older. So yeah, I can't remember which 2 of those are, because they made, I think, 3 sequels. I think it's the first 2 sequels. It's like Kickback, something else, and then there's like something at like something mountain or something, and like Hulk Hogan's there. I don't know, something crazy. Man, the ninja craze ran all through the 80s and into the mid 90s before finally dying.
Surf Ninjas. That's another Rob Schneider joint.
Oh my lord!
Where he's probably 45 playing a high school kid.
Oh man, I've never seen Surf Ninjas all the way through. I've only seen parts of it. Okay, so now the team is decimated. Several are dead. They're separated. I missed that. I missed how he got separated from him. So we got Rama, the guy whose ear got blown off. Oh, yeah, he has to get them up before they search the room. This might be the other guy that lives. I don't remember. Because there's another guy that lives and even does some fighting later on and backs him up, like when he attacks like the meth lab. Okay, they're not separated yet. Those guys are still there too. And the lieutenant. So at this point, I think they still only lost the one guy, not counting the guys outside. The guys outside are dead. The guys outside are dead, and the guy that stood by the window is dead, but the others are alive, although 2 are wounded, including the lieutenant, who is crooked. They just made it. Yeah, I always wonder about that whole kind of stupid scene in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which I like that movie, but I think one of the weakest scenes is the whole thing where when they first meet, they wind up on the Millennium Falcon with Han and Chewie, And then
Mhm.
suddenly, like, all these guys show up, and some of them are these actors, including that guy Mad Dog from this movie. And they're all other guys that are after Han and stuff. And then, like, what happens is, I don't know, like, some animal alien he has busts out, and they have to run from it. Like, I kind of feel like maybe that was like a reshoot or something. I feel like maybe they had like fight scenes and then they cut it for time or something, or like, okay, the alien busts out. I don't know. In any case, it felt like a huge wasted opportunity to have those guys just stand there and then just get killed by like a tentacle monster.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, a lot of that stuff's heavy-handed just because you have to have certain characters meet up with other certain characters.
sure.
You know.
I like that movie more than most people do, I guess. Force Awakens.
I think I like The Last Jedi more.
I love The Last Jedi. No, see, I love The Last Jedi. I think The Last Jedi is a great Star Wars film, and I guess that's just the wrong thing to say. Mike thinks there's something wrong with me for thinking that. I don't know. We're not going to get into a Star Wars thing like we often do. I'm just going to say it often feels like people hold them to weird standards. Like there's all sorts of things that people nitpick about The Last Jedi that they don't seem to mind, say, in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Like, same kind of stuff.
Sure.
Like, everybody was like, who is Snoke? I'm just like, well, who was the Emperor?
Right.
And when we finally got 3 movies telling us who the Emperor were, everybody hated them. They're like, you want to know the backstory of the Emperor? Here it is. 3 movies showing the backstory of the Emperor. And everyone's like, oh, these suck. So.
I mean, they're held to a different standard. And, it's to be expected that when you're, when your expectations are that high, there's no way they can possibly live up to the, what you would like it to be.
Sure. No, I really like Last Jedi a lot. Actually, it's on my Netflix. I need to watch it again before Disney takes it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and they still have that guy. Here we go. Now we finally get into our hand-to-hand. There's still going to be shooting, but now there's a lot of hand-to-hand and weapons.
That guy's going to bleed out that he just caught in the leg. Oh, man.
Yeah, femoral artery.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you do this to be as safe as you can, but these guys must have gotten hurt a lot doing this stuff. There's no way, like, to not take a kick here and there and stuff. That's the other thing that's amazing. I mean, these guys, like, they make it look real, but they're really holding back.
Right.
That's why I don't know. Some people will dismiss like martial artists in movies. Oh, that's all fake. Well, some of it, but not a movie like this. And that's why I really appreciate movies. See, no cuts. They're just, there's cut here and there, but for the most part, they actually show you what they're doing. They're not tricking us.
That's the difference between this and, say, Hollywood type movie.
Yeah. Well, because Hollywood, they often have, people
that
can't fight. And they have stunt people. That's one of the best things about watching the first 3 Ninjas. You're talking about the grandfathers. The grandfather's fight scenes. It's obviously some guy, like just some stunt guy, like in like a wig. They show him doing like, backflips and stuff, and it's so obviously not him.
Yeah, he's an older guy, not in that great of shape, and he's doing all this crazy.
But they're like, he's Asian, so it'll be believable to the audience that he's amazing at martial arts, no matter how old or out of shape he is.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it for what it is. I'm not going to pick that apart. It's a kids' movie,
Yeah.
I'm not holding it to the standard I would hold a serious martial arts movie.
That movie's really fucked up, like in the same regard we were talking about Home Alone. Those guys getting killed all the time. Like,
it even rips off Home Alone, right? It has a whole scene where, except it's not as well done as Home Alone, but it actually makes more sense than Home Alone. Because in Home Alone, there's no point for him doing any of it. He just calls the cops, and they come and arrest them. And he's just like, no, I'll do this really crazy, elaborate thing that is super risky, where I could get killed at any time if I screw up and stuff. And then I'll lead them on a merry chase and have the cops come. It makes no sense. In this one, like, they know the guys are coming to kidnap them. And they're just like, call the cops. And they're like, no, wait, we can prove to our uncle that we're real ninjas or whatever if we do this. So at least that makes sense to a little part.
Yeah, they show up and they're all armed to the teeth.
Yeah.
You know,
But those guys, it's the same thing. It's just bumbling idiots. They're not actually fighting like real bad guys or ninjas at that point. It's just three idiots. Like,
right.
they're like, because the one of the kids is like, oh no, robbers. He's like, we're not robbers, we're kidnappers.
Yeah, I watched that movie not too long ago, actually.
Oh man, I'm jealous. Rocky loves Emily. One bullet. Better save it. Did just kill like 7 people without it.
Right.
Okay, this guy's too hurt. He can't be the one that helps him. This guy's too hurt to do anything. I remember this. Here's the reluctant tenant. The guy they met outside. This guy, I think he has a wife, and he does. Yeah, she's saying don't get involved. Yeah, hallways are the best places for fights.
Mm-hmm.
I love a good hallway fight. In like I think the 2nd or 3rd episode of the 1st season of Daredevil, there's like a brilliant all-in-one take hallway fight, and I was like, oh, this is for real. You know, I was so happy. I was already pretty happy with how the show was going. Like it looked good and stuff, but I was like, is the fighting going to be good? Oh, the fighting's so good.
Yeah, that is great.
And that one literally is all one take. They did a really good job of capturing Daredevil's fighting style, like because he has kind of an eclectic style.
What martial art does he practice? I don't even remember that.
I guess most of his martial arts stuff comes from the Japanese martial arts, so probably like karate and jiu-jitsu, I guess. And then he was never formally trained, but because his dad was a boxer, he likes using boxing techniques and mixing it in. Mm. So it's kind of like that. But I mean, they had him doing some really acrobatic moves that made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they did a pretty good job of making it seem like he and when they showed Iron Fist later on had different fighting styles, which is cool. What's the name of that stick fighting? You know, with the short sticks. Like that's obvious. That's something he does because he's got the the truncheon or the billy club, as they often call it.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
So that's I can't remember what it's called, but he's done that. Oh, this is pretty cool. Where he starts like putting like the knife through the wall, because they're like hiding in this weird space between the wall.
Right.
Yeah, this is another good moment of great tension. Because he's got like this big ass machete, I think. Imagine having to live in a place like this. Like you have barely anything, and the building is run by psychopathic, violent criminals. They can just come in any time and do this kind of shit to you. Here it comes. This is very much like a horror. This is like a horror movie now.
Wow. Yeah, that's all CG, but that's fine.
He has to keep the other guy quiet. Oh, right in the face. Him retracting it, and he leaves it there for a moment too. He has to like, so he has to like sit there and feel it in his face. That would sting like hell. And he has to keep the blood off the blade too, so you won't see it.
He's kind of pinned against the wall, so he can't even move away from it, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. There's literally no place for his head to go.
You shut up, idiot.
Yeah, I know. I'm dealing with my own problems here. Because that's fairly deep, too. You'd need stitches for that.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
He's just
I want to
gonna
mess up that pretty face.
Slice the bitch up. So he holds it so he can take the blood off. Pretty slick. What else have I got here?
Ew.
Can't remember what I showed on camera or not. Here's the Dragon Dynasty DVD of the 36 Chamber of Shaolin with Gordon Liu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that on Blu-ray.
Yeah. It's got the best training montage ever. With apologies to Rocky IV, which is also good. Now, it doesn't have the kick-ass music that Rocky IV has. Like, it deserves like way more kick-ass music because it's just sort of like traditional Chinese ding dong ding dong da 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 type stuff going on.
Right.
Where you would want like some kick-ass rock music going because it's so good.
Hey, yeah, was that like bile coming out of his wound? It was like some green, muddy looking stuff. Like it wasn't blood.
Yeah, maybe he's
like
like part burned, isn't he? Maybe it's from a burn pus.
Wow.
So yeah, it's the Dragon Dynasty release.
So yeah, it's
yeah.
Oh man.
Here's the Raid 2. Oh, I already showed the back of that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and watch that pretty soon.
Here's part of that sort of a brief period where some of those like flowing artsy epics sort of in the tradition of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which was like a surprise hit over here. I don't like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It looks nice, but I don't like it.
I like it. Okay.
Like everybody lost their minds for it. I'm glad for it, but anyway, it's House of Flying Daggers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one of those that I really like is from my Jet Li collection here, The Legend of Jet Li, which is Hero. Hero's on here, and Fearless too. But Hero, yeah, and Fist of Legend, which is Fist of Legend is possibly my favorite martial arts movie. If it's not that, it's Legend of the Drunken Master.
Mm-hmm.
Both from '94. So at this point, they've got 4 of the cops dead, taking their bodies out. And I have a very old, used, beat up Bruce Lee Ultimate Collection on DVD.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know how they can call it the Ultimate Collection considering it doesn't have his most famous movie on it. This does not have Enter the Dragon. But don't worry, they make up for it by having Game of Death 2. Which came out like 7 years after his death.
Is that the one that he's not even in very much?
He's not really for both of them basically. Game of Death 1, at least he's in for like a few scenes before they had to replace him. Game of Death 2, I think they just they just used some, I don't know. He's basically not in Game of Death 2. My favorite Bruce Lee movie is Fist of Fury, which when it was released here was the one that was known as the Chinese Connection. So they were trying to capitalize on the French Connection's popularity, which is ridiculous. How stupid do people think? Well, that is a similar kind of title. Oh,
that is stupid. Yeah.
Speaking of titles, I remember when we had our martial arts episode on the Sausage Factory about 2 or 3 years ago, and I was talking about that period in the 2000s where it was kind of like a brief comeback for martial arts movies with some of those movies. And You're saying like that, House of Flying Daggers had a release over here, but didn't do too well. I remember Pizzle said, "Well, I don't know, like that's an odd title. Like, who wants to go see House of Flying Daggers?" I didn't say anything at the time, but I always thought that's a cool title. Why wouldn't you go see House of Flying Daggers? Sounds cool to me. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think people put too much stock into titles, really.
that's what I mean. Like a title. There's plenty of movies where I was even kind of embarrassed to say to the ticket person what the title was because I thought
Right.
the title was stupid, but I still wanted to see the movie. So, I don't know. Especially if it's a comedy, right? Comedies always have goofy titles. Oh,
I know when Jackass came out here, it was like, give me one for Jack A asterisk asterisk.
oh, hilarious. Those I did not see in theater. I saw 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Oh, watch this! Oh, I love that. Spine shattered.
Yeah, that's no good.
There's no coming back from that. Probably still alive.
These guys are really good climbers.
Yep.
I mean, God.
I mean, I could do it too, but I wouldn't want to do it with a machete in my teeth.
Or like 50 stories below you. Where if you fall, you're definitely going to die. That's like, have you ever seen like Ninja Warrior type stuff?
Yeah.
Where they have to, it's like a surface of like this, an inch wide that they have to hold on to.
Yeah. I could do some of that stuff.
That stuff's harder than it looks.
Oh, I know it is.
And it's all like upper body and forearm
Yeah.
strength.
Once you get into some of that upper body stuff, I'm screwed. But the footwork and some of the jumps, I can do that.
That's
I
why,
love that kick.
Yeah.
In one fluid motion, he kicks him in the knee, the side, and the head. Like some of the stuff happens so fast, you can barely have time to appreciate it. Hack off his leg. It's giving us problems.
Yeah, it sure is.
Front kick. Slash.
Oh. Yeah, I was reading in that Filipino knife fighting that it's actually taught with weapons first, that discipline. And then
Wow.
it's taught without weapons. Like, you learn the weapons techniques first.
Oh, look at that. Now I've never seen a kill like that in a movie.
Oh.
He jumps backwards and drives the guy's neck down on the
That's awesome.
busted thing. Yeah, not much room for error in that, is there? Training with the weapons.
I guess it's because that's more efficient. Well, obviously, but I guess you need to know how, if you lose your weapons, how to train against someone that has weapons.
Right. This guy's got good. Oh, they're just doing some Muay Thai knees.
Yeah, they pretty much incorporate all the disciplines in here, I think.
Well, that's like I said, the sort of the thing about Salat. Salat is pretty eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as rigid as a lot of the other martial arts are, or at least the traditional Asian ones. Like, for instance, like in like in Taekwondo, you're not going to see an uppercut. In Muay Thai, you're not going to see a jumping back kick.
Right.
But Salat is more flexible and will have a variety of strikes and attacks.
Yeah, like look at like karate versus jujitsu. You're gonna see, and instead of returning to stance, you're gonna go all the way back around in jujitsu.
Yeah. What's that other Korean one that's kind of like jiu-jitsu? I can't remember its name. I'd be terrible at it, but there is actually a place not too far from here that teaches it because it's all about like weird like locks stuff that you do. To like, can't remember what it's called, but it's supposed to be really good for like disabling an opponent quickly. And yet you never see them use it in. Although some of that's illegal in MMA, like you can't do small joint manipulation.
Right.
Like you can't like snap somebody's wrist.
Like, what's the capoeira? That one's always fun.
Oh, well, yeah, the Brazilian dance fighting. Yeah, well, it's about as flashy as a martial art gets, right? You're like zipping around and jumping and flipping, and it's pretty cool though. Like it was made because it had to look like dancing because they were conquered by, I guess, who was it? The Portuguese, and the Portuguese prohibited them from, martial arts training, so they disguised it to make it look like dancing. That's pretty cool.
No, we're dancing. It's all good. Watch.
Yeah. More believable now because some of that stuff, shows up in like the crazy breakdancing world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what amazes me. Like when you see like some of those things, like those like crews from South Korea that that win all the championships and just like flip all around. I'm just like, why don't you guys just do Taekwondo and cool martial arts? At least do something practical. To me, dancing's not practical, so I don't care about it. But obviously, it's great skill. But I'm like, you just want to flip around to music. I'd rather kick stuff. But to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, I could, the fluidity of it, I think, is really neat.
Yeah. Oh, and there they cut off. They don't let us know who. Somebody recognized Rama. Of course, the thing is that's who the father said he'd bring back, which is the other right-hand man. Yeah. Now we're back to Jaka and the others.
But you can go look up some of the MMA fighters that have used capoeira. It's not many. It's like 2 or 3 that you may recognize.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen some clips of them doing like a weird capoeira like flying kick and stuff. People always endlessly debate like what's the best style. Well, I don't know. There's no such thing. There's just no such thing, right? Every fight is different, whether it's a professional fight or a fight out in the street with no rules or whatever. Every fight is different.
I mean,
I'm just always amazed by people that will just like, they'll dismiss something because they think it's not practical. I'm like, well, it depends upon the situation. Right. I always thought, yeah, you see, like in MMA, guys do every once in a while even knock people out with a spinning hook kick, but it's hard, right? It's a hard kick to land. But I always figured, like, if I was in a street fight, it might be a good kick to land because they're not expecting it. Right. There's no way they think it's going to happen.
That's why they always do that spinning back fist.
Yeah.
But for one, you got to land it, which is a lot easier said than done.
Well, spinning techniques are my favorite. I love fighters that use spinning techniques. But yeah, they take off a tremendous amount of skill to actually land in a real fight. And also, if you miss, they leave you open. You have to be very careful in how you recover.
I mean, for a large percentage of that, you're operating blind, or you're not able to see the opponent. So
yeah, well, it's only really like a split second, but yeah, that's enough. That's enough in a fight.
Right.
Taking your eye off the target for even a second.
Yeah, they are cool.
Yeah. So I always favor fighters that use spinning techniques. Like that Russian who's in Bellator, Emelianenko. No, not Emelianenko. No. Emelianenko's Fedor, the legend. Not him. Younger than him, although not young. Can't remember his name now. But anyway, he uses.
Gun versus knife.
Yeah, but This is where we see Mad Dog's true nature. He doesn't want to shoot him. He could shoot him, but he doesn't want to because Mad Dog lives to fight, and he's even going to give a little speech about it. He's a small guy too, but he's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like, look how much bigger Jaka is than him.
Don't they tell you not to hold the gun that close to people because they can control it? Like you want to have a little bit of distance in between yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this sort of thing. That's the other thing I like to tell people when I make arguments for, because everybody says you'll just get shot. I'm just like, you have to actually line up your shot and point and aim. And if you're too close, a gun's not that useful at all. But I guess in this case, he just knows Mad Dog's a pro, right? So he's not going to try anything. But look, he's like more than a foot taller than him.
Wow, yeah, I was going to say he is short. It doesn't mean shit though. Jet Li's not very big at all.
That's what I'm saying. What's his name? Bruce Lee was basically my size.
Mm-hmm.
He weighed less than me.
Really? It was so muscular though.
I know.
And especially like in his, prime days, his, later days.
Yep. But yeah, he's like, I don't want to shoot you. I want us to fight to the death honorably. Well, actually, he doesn't really feel like honor. He just thinks it's fun. Like ordering takeout. This is what I do. Yeah. Jaka puts up a really good fight, but... And there's a part where you think he absolutely has him because he gets like a hold of him. And he is bigger and stronger. Yes, honey.
Some great fight scenes. Gosh.
What? It seems like he has the upper hand right here. But
oh.
Yeah, okay, this is right. He's got him. You think, oh, if he can just finish, but he gets elbowed. Yeah. He loses it. Off the wall.
Man, he brought that knee up high.
Yeah.
Brought it up all the way up to the other guy's head, which is above his.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't do that. So, he's on top of him. If he could just choke him out, but nope, kicks him off. Cat, you're killing me. Yeah, beginning and the end. Mad Dog's just a whirlwind of fists and feet. And
just speed. Man, knee to the forehead does not feel good.
Yeah. Fairly realistic. He's not just going to shake it off. Like, the fight's pretty much over at this point.
I'll wait till this is over.
But yeah, I felt bad. Like, I know Mad Dog's a really good villain, and it's good to have him, but I felt bad. I kind of wanted Jaka to win, but I was like, Jaka's not going to win.
Oh, that's some video game shit right there.
Yeah. Well, he can now. He's got a defenseless opponent. He can be fancy if he wants. But he's actually pretty matter of fact here.
I wonder how hard this is actually to do.
To break someone's neck?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be pretty tough, right? I mean,
I would think so. But
like
and that's the other thing. Like, you can't practice it safely.
How would you? Hey, let me try this technique on you.
There he goes. Yeah, they always show people just going like that. Like, I don't know.
Like Steven Seagal movies. He's like,
no, Steven Seagal like snaps 10, 15 necks a movie, man.
I'm just like, how hard would that actually be?
I think it would be hard on like a grown man. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you could snap a child's neck quite easily.
Yeah. So what else has Mad Dog been in? The actor, I mean.
Oh, shit, I did this before. Hold on.
'Cause that would be cool if he could like get a pretty good film career going. Not necessarily in America because they pretty much fucking butcher everything.
He's in The Force Awakens. But his name is Yayan Ruhian. Probably not saying that right. From 2017 called Beyond Skyline, which is a Hollywood film, but I don't know what it is. Oh, he's good. Guess what? He's going to be in the third John Wick.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's a good thing for him.
That Beyond Skyline is a sequel to the Alien movie.
I don't know any of the people in it. Sequel to the 2010 film Skyline. I don't know that either.
It had a really odd release. I remember it came out to like YouTube or some shit. I mean,
wow. It had a
it was-
budget of $20 million and it didn't even make $1 million. So it's a massive flop. Beyond Skyline.
Well, I don't think it had any kind of release.
I don't know. I don't know any of these people. Kaylin Mulvey? Antonio Fargas? I don't know these people. Directed by Liam O'Donnell. Who doesn't even, you can't even click him. It's not even clickable on Wikipedia.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, so the two Hollywood movies he's been in is Star Wars Force Awakens and Beyond Skyline, and then he's in various other, I don't know, I guess other Indonesian films.
Mm-hmm.
To always point out that yes, it's Gareth Evans that directed the two Raid movies. And he's actually Welsh. Did a 2018 movie called Apostle. Sounds interesting. Apparently it's on Netflix. I might have to look into that. Some sort of horror film that he did. Okay, here's where he's just telling his brother, you should leave. It's like the longest sequence in the movie with that action, where he talks to his brother.
Mm-hmm. It's like people say action films are dead, but and then something like this comes along.
Yeah, this was 2011. Then I think the sequel is 2013.
It's 2011, but I don't know when it was released here. I think it may have been a year or two after that.
I can't really remember.
Okay. Or worldwide, probably.
No, he has to go back and lie. Oh yeah, he like meets Mad. Oh yeah, Mad Dog's like carrying Jacka's body with him, isn't he? Yeah, he's dragging Jacka around as like a trophy.
You have to rewatch VHS 2. He did a segment in VHS 2.
Yeah, he did.
Gareth Evans.
I like VHS 2. I was a little disappointed by VHS. I didn't see what the fuss was, but VHS 2 was solid. VHS 3 sucks, though. I don't know. They could probably make some more, though. I mean, it's not a bad idea for a movie.
Viral, right? Is that the third one?
Yeah, Viral's the bad one. Yeah, it sucks. Like, I don't think there's any good segments in that one. Or sequences or whatever.
I like all three of them. I mean, it's when you have a a film that's 20 minutes long, I'm not going to be that pissed off if I don't enjoy it. I like
Yeah, I didn't like Viral. Just
I
didn't
like
think it had.
shorts.
I like shorts too. I just didn't think any of them were good in Viral. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, if it had a couple good ones, I could cut it some slack. But I just didn't think any of them were good.
I
But
liked it when I
VHS, the
saw
first one I thought was at least half good, and the second one I thought was almost all good.
it. Mm-hmm.
Especially, which is funny, it makes sense. He must have been obviously the segment he directed was the best one too, because there's no way, because it was Indonesian. Remember the Indonesian cult? You don't remember the cult? That's the best one in all of them. In the second one, there's like this film crew that's going to go do like an interview at this cult leader's compound, and they do all this satanic shit. Oh, it's great.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
love.
I'm
Oh,
remembering some of it.
you'll have to watch VHS 2 again if you don't remember that, because that's
But it's
great.
been a while. 5 years ago.
Oh, okay, I watched it more recent than that. Yeah, so the other guy, he left with that couple that hid with him. He left the injured guy with them. So now it's just him, this other guy, and the traitor. So it's him and this other guy, whoever this guy is, that basically helps him towards the end. Yeah, and the sergeant has been killed, but they don't know that yet. Okay, they know at this point.
This movie Apostle apparently came out on Netflix on October 12th.
Yeah, I just checked that. I'm going to have to check it out.
I've never even heard of it. Sounds cool.
Yeah. Obviously, the bad guy's on the top floor. That's how these things always go. Actually, when I think about it, although it's not one of the better ones, that's kind of basically what originally, before Bruce Lee died and it changed things, that was more or less going to be the plot of Game of Death. Not this frantic, but it would just be each floor he had to fight like a different master and work his way up, was how it was supposed to work. And then they wound up changing it because of his death. Well, I don't know why. Why do they have to change the concept because of that? I don't know. They call him Andy, don't they? When I think about the brother. I think they call him Andy. At this point, you think like there can't be too many bad guys left, but there's still a whole ton of them. Because at this point, at least like 30 of them have been killed.
Oh, at least, yeah.
You're in trouble. Oh. Oh, he heard him. That's right. I forgot that he got found out. Where he helps Rama.
So have you seen Creed 2 yet?
Not interested. I didn't like Creed 1. I mean, I know they gave if there was ever a hook that could get me interested in Creed 2, it's the one they're using, and it's still not enough. That they have the Drago angle, the Russian.
Man,
It's still not enough for me. I just didn't like Creed 1. I'm not interested in that character, like Apollo's son. I don't care about him.
it's so hyped up. I mean, people are going crazy over that movie.
I mean, obviously I'll see it eventually, but it was never a priority just for me to see it in theater.
Not me either. I mean, if I still had Movie Pass, I'd probably go.
Yeah. And like because of that being in theater, Creed, the first one, has been on TV several times for me recently. So I watched almost all of it, and I don't care.
I mean, I think Creed 1's okay. I mean, it's an okay movie, but
yeah,
it's nothing.
no, I didn't like think it was bad. I just don't care.
I mean, people are saying like Creed 2 is like better than the first Rocky.
What?
You know?
Oh man, that's nuts. I think that's nuts. I mean, I guess I don't know for sure. I love this. Just no. Yeah, it's just so crazy and abrupt. Just suddenly they're like, okay, we're gonna go for it. So yeah, so it's him and the other guy backing him up. They attack the meth lab or whatever it is. This is so good.
You thought we only knew how to cook meth. We also know crazy martial arts.
Yeah. Even Andy does, and you think like when he actually helps him fight Mad Dog towards the end, I had no idea Andy could fight at all. Like I thought, okay, he's purely just the brains, but he can fight too. In fact, he fights really well.
It's almost like a stereotype. Like, okay, you're Asian, so you obviously know martial arts, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is what kind of furthers it, isn't it? You see a movie like this where like literally everybody's like doing crazy, like complicated kicks and stuff. Oh, I love that. Perfect.
The guy stops like doing landscaping and starts doing.
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me of something, but now I can't think. It was like the vision of some director. Have like a world where everybody. I can't think. It'll come to me later, hopefully.
Oh, he doesn't have his vest on anymore, does he?
No, he took it off.
Yeah. Oh, so that's some of that stuff I was telling you about.
Yeah. The old man holds his own for a while. He's not totally redeeming himself, but at least he's helping out. I think he's still a piece of shit, but
he's a big guy though.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
Yeah, it's the power. Yeah. That's how they always say about like fighters too. Is like if you're like a fighter with power, that's like the last thing to go. That's why like people like what's his name? I liked him a lot. He's before my time, but I saw him when he was older. What the fuck can I think of his name? Can't think of anybody's name tonight.
The white guy?
Anyway, he was a white guy. He's well into his 40s, and he was still knocking people out. He's one of the old guard, like, fought in Pride and stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of someone who I know all those old guys you don't care for.
I like a lot of them. This is one of the guys I liked a lot. Again, I wish I could have seen him back in his prime. Fuck, I can't think of his stupid name. It's not Couture, anyway. It's not Randy Couture. This guy's more of a knockout artist.
Right.
But he's the same like generation as Couture. A little younger. Oh. They just frantically run to the next room.
Right.
I mean, geez, these guys got good cardio.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean that comes with the thing. I mean,
it's like
that's what my Muay Thai class is. Man, it's all cardio. because like you get to a point like where even simple things drain your energy, like keeping your hands up. Like we're doing enough punches, keeping your hands up becomes like draining.
Right,
Oh,
right.
I want to just drop my hands. Ah, right. Yeah, that's right. Those two run up to the top, but he sees his brothers being tortured by Mad Dog. And once again, Mad Dog's just like, okay, I already beat the big guy. I can fight you both at the same time. You can understand why he'd think that, considering he's kicking the shit out of Andy. How much does Andy have to give at this point?
You're not talking about Mark Kerr, are you?
No. Bigger star than him.
Have you seen the documentary on him? The
No.
Smashing Machine?
No, I've heard that title, though. That's really great.
You would like that a lot because he was a big Pride guy.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
And
Yeah, I know who he is. No, this guy's a bigger star than him.
sure,
Even
sure.
even held the title for a while. Don't know why I can't think of his name. He's a well-known fighter. He only retired like a year ago. Stayed or two maybe. Stayed in the game a long time. Like anyway, by the time I was watching, he was still fighting. I watched some of his last few fights. I don't know why I can't think of his name. Just like I like 2-on-1 fights a lot too. They're interesting. That's one of the reasons why I like Lethal Weapon 4 a lot. I really like that end fight between Jet Li, Danny Glover, and Mel Gibson. Because also, it's not like suddenly Mel Gibson and Danny Glover have like these abilities that they didn't have. It's basically two guys that are way outclassed fighting wise, but they have the advantage that there's two of them and they are bigger and stronger. Like, and they actually show that. I like that fight a lot. And even then, they're gonna lose until like they basically cheat and stab him from behind and like impale him. Henderson. Dan Henderson.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I mean Dan Henderson, even well into his 40s, had that power. Like he could he was knocking out people 10 years younger than him sometimes. Like maybe his speed and reflexes weren't what they were, and maybe his chin wasn't what it was because he'd been taking a lot of damage over the years. But he could still catch people and put them out.
Yeah,
and even now, he's retired. He doesn't train anymore. I bet you, like if somebody attacked him, he could still put them out.
Oh, absolutely. A layman? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. Just like someone with that kind of training versus just like some thug, you know?
I remember not too long ago. It's funny because he's small and he got fat, but he still shows that he has his like ground skills. So it's like, I don't even like the guy. Matt Serra was at like remember him?
Yeah.
Matt Serra was at like a casino when some guy got like drunk and crazy and was like threatening people. And Matt Serra basically just like took him down and then just like kept him down. Like the guy couldn't get up.
Dude,
It was pretty
Matt
funny.
Serra has crazy jujitsu, man.
Yeah, he did, and that's exactly what he did. And he did the right thing. Like the guy couldn't like sue him for anything. He didn't punch him or hit him. He took him down and held him down. Like he didn't hurt him at all, but he effectively held him down till like security came to get the guy.
When you have someone with like a legitimate black belt in jiu-jitsu, like I would definitely not fuck with that person.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a much harder belt to get than like a taekwondo black belt or something, you know?
Is it though? Like, why is it? Like in taekwondo, to pull off some of those kicks, you need to achieve a certain amount of flexibility. You don't need flexibility or strength necessarily for jiu-jitsu. It's just simply knowing how to move.
Oh, wow.
Like, I guess I don't know. I'm not trying to diss it. I mean, I just guess I don't know enough about it.
I don't know the qualifications to get it. I just know that, you know, Benson Henderson.
Yeah.
Like, this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and he had just gotten his. Like, he was a brown belt for like 10 years.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that. I remember some of those guys, you know, they'd win their like MMA fight, and then their like sensei would come in and give them their black belt there. Be like, that was the last test.
But I mean, Benson Henderson had been the champion like 3 times, you know, and still didn't have it.
Yeah, he was a champ in WEC. Yeah.
Yeah. but I'm just an amazing fighter, and had
Mhm.
still didn't get the belt. That's just what said it was hard to get to me. That a guy that
Yeah.
talented.
I guess you never hear about like I mean it's true. You hear about like teenagers that have black belts in like karate and taekwondo, but it seems to be unheard of for someone like, jiu-jitsu.
Well, I think it depends on who you get it from, really. But
Yeah, I think that's true. Like
you
getting it
can
from like say a Gracie.
you can buy a black belt,
Sure.
from one of these shit teachers.
Yeah, Andy can really fight, which is kind of surprised me. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised at the time. Because I thought his whole deal was like he was valuable, not because he was a fighter, but because he could do other stuff. But as you said, like everybody can just fight in this movie.
Yeah, makes it more fun if everybody can fight.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Get in there, Rama. Oh, sweep kicks are like so impossible to pull off.
Sweep the leg.
Like where you drop down like that.
Yeah.
Because you have to move in such a way that you hit them hard enough to sweep them down. Like you try to just do that on your own and you lose all your momentum the second you drop down. It's like what that guy did in fucking Napoleon Dynamite. I don't know if you can remember that, but there's a part where like he and like his weird brother have like a coupon to go to like some karate school, and it's taught by that guy in the crazy American pants, played by not Patton Oswalt. What's his name? He has a weird name. He was on like the Drew Carey show and stuff.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I don't know his
Anyway,
name.
him. And he's like, "You come at me." And he's like, "Come on, just try to come at me." So he like does like this really slow dropping to the ground sweep kick that he easily steps away from. And he's just like, "That was a good try."
I actually like that movie.
That's
I
an
know
awesome
a lot of people
movie.
crap on it.
Really? I love that movie. That was like a movie that gave me hope that like good comedy could still be made. Like it was 2004. I hadn't seen a good comedy in forever. And that movie like really impressed me. Like that having like a really sort of different style of humor too. Like you couldn't compare it to other comedies. It's too bad. I thought that guy was good and he was in a few other movies and then he disappeared. Jon Heder or Heater or something.
He's really religious. And he I think primarily retired because of that.
Look, at this point, both of them couldn't beat him. It's like he's, oh, right, I beat them both as I expected to. Now it's time to kill them. Like, they both couldn't beat him, it seems. They're going to get out of it, but just barely. Now they speed up. He's going to do the same thing he did to Jaka. Except Andy's going to get up. Get up, Rock.
Gut punch. Crotch punch.
Get up, you son of a bitch. Oh, that's right. He's going to put the light bulb through his
wow. It's like some fluorescent light bulb glass.
Yeah. I think he puts it, let's see if I'm right. I think he's going to put it like in his leg first and then. Yeah, I remember this now. No, starts with the neck. Starts with the neck. He's still going to fight them a bit. With it in him, he's going to fight them super hard. Like, he's losing blood at an insane rate at this moment. And he's still, like, kicking the shit out of them. Like,
what's
all
crazy?
of his force behind his blows.
Like, if all of these idiots would just get off their, like, I don't want to read subtitles bit, like, a lot of dads in America would love this movie, It's like the ultimate dude movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That you don't really have that anymore.
That's
like
true.
The 80s style, Van Damme.
Yeah, I just watched finally the newest Kickboxer.
The newest?
Yeah, they made two. They made it's called Retaliation. It's basically a sequel to the last one, and it's the same characters and stuff. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a blind teacher. Oh, and you know who the main bad guy, not the guy that gets fought at the end, but the evil guy that sets it all up in it. I shit you not, and this is why you should watch it. Christopher Lambert. And just for the hell of it, they give him a scene where he like sword fights.
This is what a few years ago they made that.
It was like 1 year ago, maybe.
Wow.
And just like the other one, it has several prominent MMA fighters in it, and it even has Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson actually has a fight scene, and what's weird is they have several prominent MMA fighters who do nothing. Like Roy Nelson's there, just doing nothing. And in the opening, they have like Frankie Edgar and somebody else doing commentary for an MMA match that Sloan is in.
So they're really trying to play up the MMA aspect of it.
I guess so. But like they've run out of stuff for him to do, so he literally fights like a monster. He fights a guy that's like 6'10", 400 pounds, and on top of that, they said like he's being pumped with like crazy steroids that make him like superhuman. Like the end fight is so ridiculous. Like there's nothing to really enjoy it like as a martial arts fan from, because they're just doing insane like cartoonish stuff at this point. I don't know which one is worse, that one or the one before. At least the other one shows the girl that he marries is this Thai, and oh my god, they have a sex scene, and oh my god, she's beautiful. She's
one before it. What kickboxer could that be? It'd be like 7 or something, wouldn't it? Because that Sasha Mitchell guy did like 4 of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying they did one in 2016 and then did another one, and this is the same cast. I don't remember the name of the guy.
Wow.
Although they make him Sloan too, although I have no idea. Yeah, I don't. It's not supposed to follow the same continuity though. The one before this was like a reboot because he fights Tong Po in the 2016 one, so it's like a reboot. But yeah, the sequels are so annoying because it's like again like one of like it's kind of like the Halloween 4, 5, and 6, like with Jamie, in that Sloan has like one of the most depressing character arcs ever. Like it goes from he defeats Tong Po to like then Tong Po like sending a bunch of gangsters out to like murder his wife after he raped her. Like it gets so dark, the stuff that Tong Po did. Like it just went from like this brutal fighter into like criminal mastermind sadist. All right, he thinks he has his ticket out.
Yeah. Boom.
And then he just shoots him. I would have done the same thing, actually. In his sandals.
Mm-hmm.
He was just chilling.
I think a lot of these guys have been wearing sandals.
I can't imagine trying to fight in sandals.
Well, I think you probably pop them off, right?
That's what I'd do, yeah. Now he's even thinking maybe he should kill himself because his career is fucked and he's going to jail.
Do it.
If he doesn't get killed. I think he's out of bullets.
Do it. You got to point it more to your brain, though. That's going to blow your front part of your face off.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it that way. I mean, isn't this the best? Just like this? Like, guarantee of probably actually
I'm not
killing
sure it's the
yourself?
best way. I know that a lot of people do it like that or through the mouth.
Or they shoot themselves in the mouth.
They just wind up like blowing off the front of their skull or something and not really doing a lot of brain damage. So you're just really deformed.
Exactly.
But
yeah, no bullets, so they're going to take him in.
I don't know.
I forget where the other guy is. The other guy is alive. Or no, did he shoot him? Is that what happened? Did I miss that? When he confronted Tama, by he, I mean the lieutenant there, did he shoot the other guy? Is that what happened? I thought he lived.
I'm not sure.
I thought the other guy lived. I feel really bad if he died because he acquitted himself so well. Let's find out.
Yeah, I might have missed it.
Yeah, hold on a sec. I'm just going to get through this. All right.
It's like, hey, buddy, you need to move. You need to find a new place.
Yeah, that was Dagu, and the lieutenant killed him. Yeah, so he did. He killed Dagu, and then took Tama hostage. I feel bad for Dagu because he did so well. Yeah, he was, he did great in that fight in the meth lab.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Rama. Okay, so one of the injured guys did live though. I guess the guy that got injured early on and couldn't do any of the fighting. The guy with the weird
Mhm.
ear. Yeah. See. So he's. I would have rather him die than poor Wahoo. But anyway. But yeah, there's the other thing that Andy says, like, he's just going to continue, like, being in the criminal world. That he might even take over for the guy, for Tama. Oh, we're going to have to watch the second one soon.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've got so many like different themes I'm working on. I really need to add to it. I'm watching a lot of TV series, so I haven't been watching a lot of movies lately.
Yeah, I think I'll be. I've got a free preview of some channels that have some really good movies. That's how I actually happened to see Highlander. But it's like called Hollywood Suite, and it's like 5 channels. One is like something like it's like Silver Screen, which is old stuff, and then it's like a 70s channel, 80s, 90s, 2000s. So
That's cool.
So I should be getting that and Fight Network all through December. So I'll have them when I go to my parents' place too.
That's cool.
But yeah, I was trying to make room on my DVR last night because I knew I'd be taping some things. What did I watch? I watched that Mexican movie. It was on my radar, and then I forgot about it. It's a Mexican movie from 2001. It's called, like, it translates to a weird title. It's like "And Your Mother Too" or something. It's like E Tambien. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a road trip movie of
Yeah.
these 2 teenage friends that go off with this married woman. Not
Yeah.
bad. You saw it?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Trying to think of the name of it. Tambien.
E Tambien something, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of a
what
weird
you're talking
title. When I looked up the translation, I was like, that's kind of an odd title.
That's probably like one of the more popular Mexican movies.
Yeah, Mike Shinoda. See, he's the Linkin Park guy, Mike Shinoda.
Okay.
The rapper, the guy that did the hip hop stuff.
Not the other one.
Take go away. Yeah, Chester, who is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, is the other? Oh, both are on my Netflix. I own both anyway. But Raid 2 is also on my Netflix.
Raid 2 is not on here for some reason.
For my convenience. Oh, guess what? In titles related to the raid, Apostle pops up.
Oh, cool.
Let's see what it says here. In 1905, a drifter on a dangerous mission to rescue his kidnapped sister tangles with the sinister religious cult on an isolated island. As I said, I like cult stuff anyway, which is why I kind of wanted to see Mandy. We didn't really talk about Mandy on air, have we? Or yeah, we did. We did on our.
We did?
Or
I don't think we did.
We didn't? Huh. Well, both of us were kind of underwhelmed by Mandy for a movie that had all like this hype and all these people talking about, it's like a movie like this hasn't come along in so long, and we're so happy for Nick Cage. I don't know. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't find too much to like about it. Really,
I watched it and I was telling you about it, and I was like, maybe I missed something because it just wasn't. It wasn't that impressive to me, so I did. No. I watched it again, and I'm not gonna watch it anymore.
Yeah, I'll watch it again. I watched it the one time. I'll watch it the second time, but I don't think I'll change either. I just I don't know. It had some things I could appreciate about it, but what surprised me the most is, like, I don't know, Nick Cage has this big rep for being so crazy and insane. I felt like it didn't really matter. It was him. I felt like somebody else could have done the role fine. Like, yeah, he has his one line where he's like screaming on the toilet, and then when he's going after the girl, he's like, "You ripped my shirt" or something. I'm like, yeah, okay, crazy Nick Cage, but really not enough of that.
Ridiculous Cage.
But I don't know. I felt like they did the whole fight your way to the bad guy thing backwards. Mm-hmm. Like, he fought the bigger threats first, and as he went, things got easier. So I thought that was dumb.
Yeah.
The first half of the movie doesn't need to be as long as it is, really.
No.
It didn't drag for me exactly, but once the movie was over, I realized it was like 2 hours. I was like, that doesn't seem like it needed to be 2 hours. And one thing that really bothered me is, like, I guess on his, like, a cult moves around. So after he, like, takes out, like, the biker gang people. He needs to find where the cult went. So he has this meeting with like the chemist or whatever. I hate that guy so much. I hate him. I don't know who he is, but he's one of Rob Zombie's guys, and I hate him. Can't even look at him. He's like one of the main guys in 31, which is of course a piece of shit that I don't know why I subjected myself to, but I hate that guy, and I couldn't stand that scene at all. It bothered me. Got a tiger in a cage for no reason. The tiger gets out, nothing happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You watch that Amy Schumer movie.
Yeah.
You're like a glutton for punishment.
I could say you made some questionable choices too when I look at your Letterboxd. Yes,
sure.
I watched. Yes, I watched I Feel Pretty. Just to see it. It made me think about like the problem, the bigger problem of making movies that are like trying to tackle that kind of issue, like, you know, body image and the way people treat people. Like, made me think of an earlier movie from years ago from Jack Black called Shallow Hal, which like I don't like. That came out like maybe 2001 or something, so it was before like I don't know. There was a lot of like Twitter and stuff like that. Like I can just imagine like people like flipping out over that movie now.
They couldn't make that movie now.
Like saying how like disgusting it was to have like Gwyneth Paltrow play like an obese woman, and you know the idea that like her inner self, like her inner beauty was, you know, what Gwyneth Paltrow normally looks like how problematic that movie was. Like the movie was trying to make a point about liking people for their personalities and their hearts and stuff, but at the same time, it still has to point out, okay, these people are ugly, which is basically what the Schumer movie is too. Like I don't know. I'm not trying to pick on Amy Schumer. She's an okay comedian. She's massively successful, so it doesn't really matter. But like her whole shtick has been sort of like she knows she's not really that attractive, so she'll just make everything about how like she's not and how threatened she feels by girls that are. Like, and that's really what the movie is. Because obviously, to make the point, the movie is loaded with really super attractive women, basically to juxtapose with her character. So like there's at one point where she's talking to like this, you know, statuesque model type girl, and the girl says how she was just on a vacation to like Italy or something like that. And Amy says, so I was wondering, did you like at any point during your vacation, like, I don't know, like meet a guy or like these two guys and they just randomly, who you don't know, and they randomly invite you to be on their yacht, and you go to their yacht and you go to this whole, and you go like around in the Aegean Sea, and it's this whole part of your vacation that you didn't even plan and stuff. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And so, man.
It's, I don't know, whatever. I'm not a fan.
At least no one says pussy in that movie. Nobody says pussy in that movie.
She doesn't like point to hers and say how nasty it is like 100 times?
No, but I mean, she talks about how nasty the rest of her is all the time. And again, they try to like juxtapose. They show like beautiful women like working out and her like on a treadmill going, you know.
I mean, I don't really think Amy Schumer is like an ugly person or anything.
You might if you watch that movie.
But I mean, then she's not like super fat either, and she's supposed to be the you know, the token, like, you know, whatever. I'm the plus sized person who's, you know, that was a lot of the backlash for that film was that.
Really? I think she's pretty gross. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just have. Maybe I'm a jerk. You know. And
I think she's gross too. But I mean, in comparison, I mean, the models that she's talking about, those are like, you know, subhuman people. You know, like what percentage is going to look like that? You know.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
But yeah, I watched the movie, and it's not the worst thing in the world. I don't know.
Beyond Skyline's actually on Netflix too.
Interesting.
Add that to my list.
No, what's on my list? Actually, what a lot of my list right now is Asian stuff. Not all martial arts movies. Some just normal stuff too. But that's like the main thing that my list is at the moment. Is all this Asian stuff that I kept putting off. That I've finally been making my way through a little bit of. Right now, my list has disappeared. I have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them on here. I doubt I'll ever actually watch it.
I'm kind of interested to watch it, but
Oh, here's what I want to watch next is The Other Side of the Wind, because I just they released this at the same time as they released the documentary kind of about it. So I don't know if you know, but The Other Side of the Wind was like the last movie that Orson Welles tried to make back in the 70s, and he never made it, and then he died. But now they just like pieced it together and made it. Like I don't know how it'll work, but they just released it on Netflix. But anyway, so there's also this documentary called "They'll Love Me When I'm Dead" about Orson Welles, but it really focuses on the making of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested to see what the movie will be like. It's pretty interesting. It's got John Huston. It's very kind of autobiographical, I guess, because the idea is John Huston plays this like older director who's like facing the backlash of like New Hollywood, where like he isn't cool anymore, so he wants to try to make that kind of movie. Seems really interesting. And yeah, he started like making it in like the early 70s and was still technically making it until like the start of the 80s, and then he like died. Isn't it weird that the last thing Orson Welles ever did was do the voice of Unicron in Transformers the movie?
Wow.
That's hilarious. He had no respect for it, and I'm not saying he should have given what he did, but like he like said like in an interview like how he like does the voice of like a toy that like eats other toys or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's really sort of reignited my interest in Orson Welles. So also on the list here is one of his classic movies, what many people consider the last true noir movie, Touch of Evil.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope he's somebody who I thought long and hard about us maybe doing for like the Master series, but we didn't fit him in. But we'll have to do like some sort of Orson Welles thing eventually.
I don't know that I've seen many of his films, if any at all.
Most people
Honestly.
haven't. Well, this is the weird thing about him. He's like this huge name, but most people haven't seen too many of his films, and his filmography is actually very strange. And the fact of the matter is, while most people think of something like, obviously when people bring up greatest films of all time, they talk about Citizen Kane. He made that when he was 25, and he did all
Wow.
sorts of stuff after that. And not only that, but that movie wasn't even appreciated in its time. It wasn't until the late 50s that it started to get big. And
Mm-hmm.
for basically his lifetime, Orson Welles was not considered a master of film over here. It was in Europe. Europe regarded him that way, but not here. So he has a really weird filmography because he was also a guy that, acted as well as directed. And one of my favorite movies isn't one he directed. It was just an acting role. And the only reason he took the role, he would specifically sometimes act just so he can make money to finance the movies he was directing. But anyway, he plays Harry Lime in The Third Man. That is an amazing movie. But that's not technically an Orson Welles movie. That's directed by somebody else, written by somebody else. But he is really awesome in it. But no, he has a really odd filmography. Because he basically was one of the first people to go over to Europe and just like start trying to make movies that way. And that's another reason why The Other Side of the Wind only got a release now, was because the rights are all tied up, because he was kind of like one of the first like major film people, at least from over here, to go over to Europe and get his movies financed by like multiple producers. So it makes everything super muddy rights wise, because you have like 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many different people contributing as producers for the movie. But anyway, I'm really fascinated by him and his career, because a lot of people think he just peaked too early and could never live up to that movie and was chasing it all the time. But he made really interesting films. Like it's not he's much more diverse than say Hitchcock, who
Right.
basically did thrillers and maybe some dramas thrown in. Not and I love Hitchcock, but yeah, Orson Welles' filmography is ridiculously cool. And he did do a really good job of one of my favorite books being adapted, the Franz Kafka novel, The Trial. He did an adaptation of that in the early 60s, starring a perfect person for the main character, Anthony Perkins. And it's so good. Really good. Like you wouldn't think somebody could capture the book that well, but it does a fantastic job. So I hope maybe sometime on our show we can do an Orson Welles one or two things, because I find him a super fascinating guy, and his filmography is really diverse and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like he tried all sorts of different things and genres and stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of ashamed I haven't seen more of his stuff.
No, it's really quite common. I haven't seen too much of his stuff, honestly. I've seen like maybe 3 of the movies he's directed, maybe, and that's it. But he did some he did a version of Othello, I think, in the 60s. where I can't remember who it is, but it's an actor in blackface, obviously. But it might even be him for all I know. It might have been him who played Iago, or maybe he plays Iago and somebody else plays Othello. Othello is the black character, so I'm getting a little confused. I haven't seen it, but he was super ambitious. What's weird is like he always had like a billion projects on the go at once. So there were people, and they talk about it in the movie about The Other Side of the Wind, that said, oh, there was like various people had said like, I don't think he wanted to finish it, and they're like, that's bullshit. He definitely wanted to finish it and stuff, but.
He just died before he could.
No, I mean, he started making the movie in the early 70s. And he died in what, like 86?
Mm-hmm.
No, like he just kept changing his mind and stuff. Like he kept changing his mind, and he didn't, it was, one of those brilliant artists, He had all these ideas, but he'd come in and be like, we're going to do this. And then the next day he'd be like, forget yesterday. That's all crap. Forget that. Now we're going to do this. All these weird specific ideas and stuff. And I don't know. He was one of those people that collapsed under the weight of his own genius, I might say.
Sure.
But yeah. I mean, I do believe he was a genius. He was even outside the context of film, he was a child prodigy growing up. He could do all sorts of amazing things and was very smart, very smart. And but he's kind of the ultimate example of like a brilliant mind just sort of falling, because by the like late 70s and the 80s, he was a joke, right? He got enormously fat. Everybody's seen those wine commercials he did where he's drunk off his ass. It's like, oh, the French. Like, those are, I mean, I respect the man, but I still have to laugh at those. Like, watch them on YouTube anytime if you want a good laugh. As the outtakes of him trying to do like this. And it's not even like a classy wine thing. Like, he's so broke that he needs the money.
Right.
So, which is sad, but yeah. So you see, yeah. It is funny though. It's sad, but it's also really funny. Just like this enormously drunk Orson Welles and these actors that are just so totally befuddled, just trying to get through it. And they can't say anything because it's Orson Welles. They're just like, yeah, we'll go again.
I feel like did SNL do that? Do a skit on that or something? I feel like someone.
It's possible. I haven't seen it, but it sounds like something they could do. Obviously, it's ripe for that kind of thing. But yeah, it is too sad that he gave kind of a joke in his final years, because he was very talented and stuff. And it's not like he wasn't respected. A lot of people liked him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll have to talk about that going on. Should wrap up for now since it's tremendously late here. But I'm glad we got to do it. It was fun. Even though The Raid wasn't our first choice, we had a few different things that we couldn't get together. I mean, it's still a really fun movie. I was still really glad to do it. And it does motivate me to watch the second one again, which I like a lot. And plus, I'd like for you to see it, because I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's kind of more of the same, but it's different too. It's not limited to the one building now. You'll get them out and about, and you'll get some car chases and stuff. It's very good. It's very good. I'm sure you wouldn't be disappointed. Still lots of awesome, creative, frenetic action. Well, very good movie. So maybe an excuse to watch that sometime soon.
Yeah. I'll try to watch it, and then maybe we can do a commentary on it at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And maybe do Fist of Legend too.
Yeah, I love Fist of Legend.
Maybe some Jackie Chan also.
Yeah, I wish I owned more Jackie Chan. And right now on my Netflix, the only Jackie Chan is like super recent stuff. Like none of his classics is on here, which really sucks. And a few years ago, they had several, and that's the only way I watched them. Like, I never had seen Dragon Lord until it popped up on my Netflix about 3 years ago. But that's like from 82. That's the movie that holds the record for most takes for a scene. There's a scene that did have like over 700 some takes. And you understand why, because it involved so many people. It's like weird. It's like this weird sport. I don't know what they're doing, but it's like all these people are like creating like human pyramids. It's insane. Like, it's not a fight scene. You would think, oh, okay, Jackie Chan movie with a million takes. It's not a fight scene. It's something else entirely.
Really?
It also has them playing like a cool game of like, sort of like a modified version of like, okay, imagine soccer, but with hacky sack. So the idea is you can't let it hit the ground, and with a hacky sack. And it's really cool where he's got like this team playing another team. And it's like best, I don't know, out of like 4 out of 7 or something like that. Anyway, his team goes down like a bunch of goals. So there's no room for error. And then like, it's obviously it's not real, it's choreographed, but it's like the most brilliant comeback ever. They do all these amazing, elaborate like moves and stuff to like win the game. It's so good, and that's not. And again, that's not even martial arts, although it fits in because there's like kicking and stuff. It's so awesome. But yeah, that's a really great movie, and yeah, So a few years ago, a bunch of his old ones did show up on Netflix, and that's how I managed to watch them. It was Dragon Lord and both. What do they call it? It's that period one with like the pirates and stuff. Anyway, I can't remember what they're called, but anyway, there's two of them. I watched both of those too, and they're really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And also, that's also how I saw a couple of like Jet Li's movies from like before he was. Jet Li was around in the 80s, but he didn't break through as a star until later.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was called Born to Defense, and you can see why it's not really that good, but it has a really good one fighting scene where he has to like fight a boxer that's really good. Actually, one of Jet Li's really old movies is on here. It's from, I think, 86. Or it's on mine anyway. Let's see here what it's called. Oh, yeah, Martial Arts of Shaolin from 86. I don't even think I'll probably watch that sometime. But anyway, that was kind of a flop for him. It didn't get him any. Yeah. Wasn't really until the 90s. It wasn't until he did that Swordsman movie, I think in 91, that really started to get him traction. Mm-hmm. But one of my favorite of his like American movies, or actually it's a British movie, Unleashed is on here. Danny the Dog, Unleashed. That's a great movie.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, Bob Hoskins is like the amazing British gangster.
Yeah, I was a huge Jet Li fan when that came out.
Yeah.
Here.
And that movie has like some actual decent acting in it too. Like it has like an emotional component to it. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, I've always wanted to see, and this was on Netflix for a long time. I probably had it on my list at one point, and it's long gone now. Is like his first ever drama. It was called Something Ocean. Anyway,
I'm not sure.
He did a drama back in like, I don't know, 2010 or something. Anyway, there's no fights at all. He's not a fighter, and it's just a drama. But yeah, Something Ocean something. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully we can do a couple of these in December. I'll be at my parents', but that shouldn't mess it up too much. I'll still have access and time and stuff. So anyway, this is fun. I'm glad we were able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's super late here, and I really need to eat a granola bar or something. I'm going to fucking faint. I'm too warm. I shouldn't have worn this hoodie. It's cold outside now. We finally got some snow today, and the next week or so, we got some cold temperatures. So that feels a bit more Christmassy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, as always.
Yeah, that's great to have you with us.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot, guys. Peace out.